Forex Lens gives you the edge. Forex Lens understands the global economy and financial markets. With machine learning, we give you real-time global analysis and investment strategies. Forex Lens lets you invest and earn with institutional traders, even if you're new to trading. Trading and investing made simple with Forex Lens. Check out our performance at forexlens.com. Get the edge on trades. Your eye into the markets. forexlens.com.
Hi everybody, welcome to Tuesday, December the 3rd. This is George FX taking over for RP while he's on vacation. Welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going to try and keep it a little bit shorter session. If you're in the portal, remember we've got the chat here. If you wanted to send any messages, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and use the chat there. We'll be monitoring that if you have any questions. So we're going to continue where we left off yesterday in terms of charting. What I'd like to do is kind of give you guys a breakdown on how to organize your charts better. I know things get a little messy, harder to read. I want to make sure that if you're doing naked price action, you can still confirm all your stuff, confirm all your analysis with these other tools that can help you. Or at least if you're starting with these tools, then you can still follow along with RP nice and easy when he gets back with his style of analysis, because they do go hand in hand and they do confirm each other pretty well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the chart from yesterday just to give you guys a quick rundown of what we did yesterday. First thing we did was we identified our time by year cycles. So we started off with going back in time with this pink line here, and we identified January beginning of 2019, January beginning of 2018. We found our major trend, which is this turquoise line here. Then what we did was we zoomed in on that a little bit, and we identified our secondary trends, which are these orange lines here. And you'll see that some of them go down, then they go up, they go down, they go up, all within a primary trend that's going down, right? So we have these waves that are flowing through. The next thing that we did was we zoomed in even more on the periods, and we broke them down into quarters, fitting with the business cycles, and we have our ripples, which are inside trend that's going up. Inside the primary trend that's going down, we have a trend that's pretty flat, but still going up a little bit, the secondary trend. And then we have our ripples inside that are going up and also down, and we'll see how the rest of that plays out. So I did clean this up a little bit. I wanted to talk about why it's important to, first of all, have this information, and second of all, what you can do to help you organize this information so things don't get cluttered, right? Don't forget, we also added the volume profile index here, which is a really good indicator. Now you might need to upgrade your version of TradingView if you're using that, and make sure to select visible range. This way your volume profile will update as your time changes at the bottom left hand corner. So let's see if the reason why we plot these lines is to give it a nice quick way for us to just move. Let's say we wanted to find out what the volume was of all of the candlesticks here, of all the price here. Well, we just quickly snap that to the left hand corner here. We have our time on the X, and all these ranges will update for us, right? So that's a nice quick easy way to keep yourself organized. But one thing I know that gets really hectic is when you have all these lines and you have a bunch of indicators, whatever it is you're using, things start to get messy. So you want to clean that up. So if you right click, you have the object tree, and that'll open up this layering tool for you where you can group items. So if I click on, for example, this trend line here, it'll highlight that trend line. You see how these are our ripples that are being highlighted here. So if I wanted to group all my ripples together, I can do that. I can just select all of them, right? Right click and, oh, maybe not right click. Here we go. There's a little group, create group. Boom, we've created our group, and I can call that ripples, right? So then now all of a sudden I can lock all my ripples, I can make them all disappear, right? And I've set up another chart here where I've done just that. So I've organized everything for you guys. So we have our tide, right? So let's hide all this stuff here. You want to see your tide? Here it is. Here's our tide. I'm going to switch back to the day chart. And so we have our tide for the 1 year period starting January 1st, 2019. Let's zoom in on that. Now things aren't as messy, right? So then I want to see what my waves look like. Okay, so we have waves going up and down. So I can activate those and my ripples, right? So now I can zoom in on these periods, and if I wanted to do some naked price action trading, if I wanted to analyze this even further with other indicators or anything else like that, I can quickly just deactivate that and still have my still do my other analysis. Don't need to have 200 charts open this way. You can really start to get a nice idea of how the different systems are working together. I'm going to go ahead and snap this to our to this quarter. So October 1st, 2019 is going to be our point of origin. So this is your X0, right? So I'm going to move that over to our point of origin. And this is going to give us a nice breakdown of what's happening today. Well, for this period. And we're going to be analyzing what's going on today. I'm going to go ahead and activate that tide, right? So now I can see the main trend that Euro USD is flowing in. Looks like we're approaching that zone here with the current price, but haven't gotten there yet. Let's look at the wave. Okay, so our secondary trend is going up, which was the previous quarter was going down. It's actually interesting to note the reason why we use business cycles is not just for fun. We do want to make sure that we have at least some sort of a starting point. Some people use different cycles. They create their own cycles. The reason I use the business cycles is because of the corporate news that comes out. The different indexes, the manufacturing, any ADP, stuff like that. See how things are kind of falling in line with the last quarter of the year here. It looks like we're having a secondary trend reversal, right? So that's important to note that our business cycles usually line up, not all the time, but they usually line up to some key information that's being released at that during those times. So keep that in mind. I'm going to zoom this back in for you, and let's activate this ripple. Okay, so yesterday our ripple was actually, before that candlestick closed, it was down here. We were using our highest high of this period, and then our lowest high of this period for the ripple was here. Today we're adjusting that to the close of the yesterday's candle here, so that we get a more updated view on what that ripple looks like, right? So I want to actually mark this time here where this high was, so for a quick view for myself. And of course you can organize like I've organized year over year here, so you could disable that. And make sure you always plot a little bit into the future as well, so you can see where you can really start seeing how time is affecting those levels. But I'm going to just mark this with, oh, that's the wrong tool, vertical line, just so I can have a nice quick reference to zoom in and set that up for what we're about to do next. Okay, so we've identified all our trends. We've organized our chart. We don't want any of the noise. We're gonna deactivate some of the noise, but for now, let's analyze what's happening here today. Okay, this candlestick that's forming here. I'm gonna hop into a 15-minute chart, and I'm gonna expand that view, and let's zoom out. So here's what's going on. Okay, it's this is quite important. If you don't know how a candlestick is being formed, this is a good way to try and understand. And pretty much we want to we want to figure this out ourselves. So I'm going to look, what I'm going to do is, the first thing I want is, I'm going to measure, when you use the cross tool, you get those diagonal dashes and vertical dashes. If I line those up along the top here, right, we're only touching about 1, 2, 3 points. If I line it up here, I'm looking for all the highs, right? So if I line it up here, we're getting a few more points. I'm trying to find as many highs as possible, right, to figure out what the body is of this movement here. And then I want to line up also all the lows, right? And let's zoom out a little bit just so you could see. I'm going to deactivate this visible range here. So if stuff gets in your way, you can always deactivate it, right? And if you ever need to see things, you can reactivate it. Now, using the rectangle tool, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to start off by finding all the highest highs that, where are all the highs being formed, the majority of them. I'm going to say that that's about right here. And then I'm going to drag that down and find where are those lows, the majority of the lows being generated. Well, I'm thinking it's probably around here, right? So what this is doing is I'm figuring out what this body looks like. This is the trading range right now. It's kind of stuck in this zone. But where are the most of those highs? Where are the most of those lows? That's going to form your body. And then what you want to do is you want to just grab the trend line, and anything that's sticking out, you want to find the top. You want to find the top wick. We're going to find the top wick, hold shift just to snap it in place, and we have our top wick of this day, right? Then you want to do the same for the bottom wick, and we're gonna, where are the wicks coming from? Let me redo that. So where are those wicks coming from? So from here. Oh, geez. Let's just not worry about snapping that into place then. And here, right? Okay. Sometimes if you're not using the tools accurately, you're going to get strange results. So always keep that object tree open so you can quickly lock and unlock your items. Now, what I did here was technically broke down what the movement looks like. If I zoom this back out, you'll see that this is a doji. If I zoom this back out to a one-day view, and then we zoom in, our candlestick is pretty much forming a doji here. Well, it was earlier today. It's things are moving up a little bit more since this morning. Usually, 10 a.m. volumes increase for the New York session, just like the 5 a.m. volumes increase for the London session, 3 a.m., 5 a.m. So you'll notice that these, the volumes are going to start to go up. If we break this down on an hourly, if we look at when the volumes are going up, you'll see that most of them are going to line up with 10 a.m. here, 10 a.m. and 10 a.m., right? And you also see that 5 a.m. move for the London session, right? So you want to keep an eye on that. You always want to keep an eye on your volume movement for the different sessions when you're figuring this out. Here's that pop that's causing this doji to break. But it's good practice to jump in on the 15-minute, right? You want to jump in on that 15-minute, zoom out, figure out, okay, well, you want to know if price is going to be going up or down. You want to just draw the body, draw the wicks, figure it out on your own. Don't let the machine do all the work for you, because this is how you figure out the anatomy of the candlestick, right? You're on your own. Right, so you have these tools. You want to understand price action, build your own candlesticks, zoom in even further, right? Like, let's figure this out more, right? What else, what other information is this going to tell us? This is breaking out. This is breaking out of the body. We have some indication that that there's an upward momentum here, but you want some confirmations on that as well. Uh, and we'll get into some more indicators that we can use as we layer this on. But for now, I just want to leave you with that. Uh, Organize your charts, right? If you want to, now that we know price is moving up, well, is there any resistance that we're going to meet at different levels? Just activate your other analysis, right? So we're breaking through this ripple here. We might see some more momentum going up. Don't quote me on that. You got to wait for it to play out because it might retrace back down as well. There's a nice movement here in price for about 60 pips back down to retrace from yesterday. So if you reactivate that visible range, you get the price on volume. We have our next move up for volume on price is around the 111.2 mark, right? So we can see if anything does pop up, it's going to be in this range. Of course, our tide is definitely going to be a point of resistance. And then back down here, if you look at the volume on price, we're going to be looking at about the 110.182 level to reach back down, as price likes to ignore this area here. Make sure you're setting your x-axis on the time frame, on the most recent time frame for that period, so you're not getting strange results. You want the most detailed, accurate results for the period. The more you zoom in, the less information you're going to have. So try and give yourself try and work with the different views. Get comfortable with plotting your time into the past, plotting your time a little bit into the future, and adjust your levels as you go. Every day that goes by, you want to redo your change up your trends based on the tides, waves, and ripples. Ripples are going to be a daily occurrence. You're always going to be moving those around. Waves are going to be, they could be daily, but most of the time they're going to be adjusted throughout the quarter. And then, of course, your tide is least likely to be affected for a while. We'll probably see something happen around the January mark, as each January Euro USD likes to have some sort of a movement that strengthens its position for the rest of the year, right? So that's going to be something great to look out for 2020, is this Euro USD potential, either break out going up or continuing down where we can meet some lower levels. Really depends on sentiment. We have a lot of the different news coming out from the European central banks, which they're really tightening the ship. So we'll see if their plan is going to align with the market, and if that's gonna help us in the long term. Yeah, so practice that. Tomorrow I'll give you guys a further breakdown on how you can add more layers to your chart. And then, of course, when RP's back, you can always pretend we never did these sessions and hide that stuff. But at least you have some extra point of reference and something that you can always go back to for confirmation, which I think is going to be really important in your trading. Uh, uh, in, in your trading, right? Anyways, I'll stop rambling now and I'll let you guys go. It's Let me see here if there's anything important to cover for the day in terms of news. Yeah, keep an eye out for tonight. That AUD GDP quarter over quarter is coming out. Really important. Make sure to pop open the latest release. If you have any trouble understanding any of this information, sometimes it helps to put in context. Looking at if you use Forex Factory, for example, there's a history, and you can click on this graph tool. And what this